Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. I'm very excited today to be sharing with you a sneak peek of a brand new stencil coming out in Trinity Stamps' next release. It's the Ribbon Twirl Stencil. I am taping a piece of white cardstock to the back of this stencil. There are two parts to this stencil that you're going to layer on top of each other. I'm going to use two colors that go well together. This is Rouge, it's a kind of a dusty pink color, and then Velvet. And I will have a ribbon tree that is pink and red, a favorite color combination of mine to use for the holidays. So there's the first layer, and what's really cool about this stencil, as well as most all the other stencils that Trinity Stamps has, is that you have etched lines in the layers, so when you're trying to line this up with what you've already stenciled, the etched lines will line up with it, and so it makes it really easy to get really good placement, and then your layers look amazing together. So for my second layer, I have it taped in place, and I am doing that velvet ink. Both of these have just kind of a dustiness to them, and I think they work really well together. When I was all done stenciling this, I really felt it had a little bit of a retro vibe. So that is what inspired the rest of this card. I really wanted to give this like a little more 3D of a feel to it. So I just took some colored pencils and I'm adding a little shadowing on the edges of these ribbon pieces, and that really helps it have a little bit more dimension. You can do this part or you don't have to. It has enough dimension on its own, but I thought it would be fun to try and then share with you so you could see what it looks like and if it's something you would want to do to this particular stencil or any of the others that you might already have. It's kind of a fun way to add a little something extra. So now I am bringing in a darker red, a little bit darker than my ink, and the trick with colored pencils is that you want to start with a really light hand and then just layer in more color where you want that area to be darker, and that's going to give you that nice shadow effect. I just cut this out with some scissors, cutting off the two sides, and I'm going to set that aside and work on the topper for my tree. I have this bow die set. I wanted the bow to match my tree, so I'm using that same Rouge ink to ink blend a white piece of paper and die cut from that my little bow, and then I will have a bow that perfectly matches. So I'm die cutting out these three pieces. You can also use that other piece that's more round, or there's a bow you can paper piece together or just have an outline. And then I'm going to use a glue dot as well as liquid glue to put this together. I really want it to stick and be sturdy and not come apart. So I'll put the glue dot there and then also add liquid glue to the ends of this bow. And then the two ends fold in to the center. And you just want to press and hold that for a minute before you move on to doing the next one. And then I'm using my reverse tweezers there to really hold that together for a minute while I curl this little piece, which will wrap around the center of the bow. So once I feel that bow's ready to go, then I can go ahead and wrap that center piece around there. So just glue it onto one side and then fold the other ends around the center of the bow, gluing them into place. And this is like the pretty part of the bow. Now the part that's the tails, I'm going to have my bow go straight across, but there is a point where you can bend it so your tails would hang down, and there's a little score line for that. However, if I did that on my bow, the back side would be white, so I would have had to ink blend it, and I just like the idea of the bow going straight across, so that's what I did. Now I'm using some Aqualicious ink and adding some color to the edge of this piece of pattern paper, which is from a Christmas pack of paper from Trinity Stamps. I'm going to have all the things that I used linked for you in the description box below, so if you want to check them out, you totally can. All right, I'm adding some shimmer splatter to this, and I think it just adds to the kind of retro feel of the card to have something sparkly and shimmery. So I added that, and you can see it looks really good. Ink on 3 has some really great splatter like this. Trinity carries a lot of the Ink on 3 products, so I'll link that for you below. It may or may not be in stock. It seems to be very popular. All right, so I'm adding Merry Christmas to my card from another panel of cardstock that I ink blended to match my card. So I used Aqualicious on this one, die cutting out this Scripty Merry Christmas. There's also shadow dies that go with it, and I'm going to use those as well, die cut from white. And then you could just glue the two together and you have this really pretty outline and base for your like super scripty and delicate letters. They're so pretty. So I'm using a fine tip precision glue to do this. I find it to be very helpful with these tiny little areas. And I love these colors for Christmas, kind of a tealish blue and the pink and red. I think it's very retro Christmas. I love it. So I'll add a little dot to the eye to finish that off. So now we're just going to bring back all the things and put this card together. I have an A2 size card base there on the left from white cardstock, and you can see my patterned paper panel is 4 inches by 5.5. So it's going to go all the way top to bottom with just a little bit of white showing on either side. Now my tree I've already covered with foam squares. You can see I love my foam squares a lot. I like my cards to be very sturdy, so that had a lot of foam squares on it. I cut the tip top of the tree off so I could kind of have this bow down a little bit, and I like how that worked out. Next, I added foam squares to the ends of my Merry and my Christmas, and the middle will get glued down to the tree. So this is going right over the top of the tree, and that is almost it for this card, but we cannot leave out adding embellishments. So these are the bubble blower baubles. They are clear with a little bit of an iridescent finish, and they come in, I believe, like 4 or 5 different sizes, and they are perfect for this tree. I think having the like round baubles really adds to the retro Christmas feel of this card, and they're so pretty when they catch the light. So that's a pretty quick and easy Christmas card, I feel, but it's very eye-catching and still has something special about it, right? Thank you so much for coming by and catching this sneak peek of this really pretty new stencil with me. I will be back again on the Trinity Stamps channel very soon with more of this new release. So stay tuned for that. If you want more inspiration from Trinity Stamps, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook too. We have new posts, new videos almost every single day. So be sure to check us out, and I will see you all again very soon. Happy stamping! Bye!